Hi, have you ever written an essay that talks about both sides of a topic, seems organized, and uses words like while or in contrast, but still doesn't score as high as you expected? If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. I'm Surya, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll look at why some compare-contrast essays are only partly successful, not because they're wrong, but because they don't fully show the comparison skill the task requires. By the end of this video, you will understand why that happens and, more importantly, how to fix it. Let's get started. Let's clarify something important first. In IELTS Writing Task 2, essays are assessed using criteria such as task response and coherence and cohesion. These criteria focus on how clearly and effectively the task is fulfilled. This means an essay may discuss both ideas in the question, describe each option clearly, give a clear opinion, and remain organized and relevant. For example, with a topic like social media versus face-to-face communication, an essay might explain the benefits of both and reach a conclusion. In that sense, the essay meets the task. However, we must ask a deeper question. Does it show strong comparison skill? Fulfilling the task requirements does not automatically mean that comparison is handled effectively. An essay may use comparison words, yet the comparison itself may not be built into the paragraph structure. When this happens, the relationship between the two options given in the question is not fully developed. This difference between just using comparison words decoratively and organizing ideas through comparison often explains why some essays do not score as high as expected. A stronger response makes comparison clear, visible, and continuous throughout the organization of the paragraphs. And that's the difference we are going to examine next. If you have watched my previous video on compare-contrast essays, you already know there are two correct ways to organize your answer. The first one is point-by-point method, and the second one is the block method. In the point-by-point method, you organize your essay by specific points of comparison. Each paragraph focuses on one point, such as cost or portability, and discusses both options together. In the block method, ideas are organized by similarities and differences. One paragraph focuses only on similarities and the next focuses only on differences. Here, we are focusing specifically on the organization of the body paragraphs because that is where comparison must be clearly visible. The introduction and conclusion follow the usual IELTS structure. Both methods are acceptable in IELTS. What matters is not which method you choose, but whether comparison is clearly built into your structure. Now, here is the real test. Just knowing these methods is not enough. The question is, can you recognize them when you see them? And can you tell when an essay is not using them correctly? Let's try that right now. Now let's look at two short example paragraphs to see how structure affects comparison. Both examples are about the same topic, traditional books and ebooks. Both are relevant to the question, and both use correct English. Before I explain anything, pause the video and read both versions on the screen. On the left, you will see one set of paragraphs. On the right, you will see another. Ask yourself these questions. Which set of paragraphs follows one of the structures we discussed in the previous slide? Which version really compares and contrasts the two options? And which one mainly describes each option separately? Pause the video now if you need more time. I'll wait. If you said version B is stronger, you are correct. These are simplified examples. They are not complete IELTS body paragraphs, but short extracts designed to show how comparison works in structure. Now let's see why these example paragraphs are structured differently. and why one is stronger for a compare-contrast task. Version A doesn't follow the method we discussed in the previous slide. In version A, the writer focuses on one option at a time. First, all about traditional books, then all about ebooks. Even though the ideas are relevant and language is correct, they are presented as two separate lists. The writer is describing two options given in the question separately rather than analyzing their relationship. So, the reader has to do the work of comparing. In version B, the writer uses the block method properly. One paragraph focuses only on similarities between traditional books and ebooks, and the next focuses only on the differences between them. Here, comparison is part of the organization. It is built into the structure itself. The language and structure work together to show how traditional books and ebooks relate to each other. Comparison means showing relationships, not just listing features. Notice how, in the second version, comparison is built into the structure. The reader does not need to guess how the two options relate. This makes the comparison clear, continuous, and easy to follow. That is why the structure on the right is stronger for a compare-contrast task. This clarity directly supports task response and coherence and cohesion, which are key assessment criteria in IELTS. Let's quickly recap what really matters in a strong compare-contrast essay. First, both options are discussed. This means you have clearly included both sides given in the question. Second, similarities and differences are clear. The reader can easily see what the two options have in common and how they differ. Third, ideas are organized by comparison, not by option. Instead of writing one paragraph about option A and another about option B, ideas are grouped according to how the options relate to each other. Fourth, comparison is built into the paragraph structure. The paragraphs themselves show the relationship between the two options. Fifth, appropriate comparison and contrast language is used. Words and structures like both, similarly, while, whereas, in contrast, and on the other hand, help make relationships explicit and easy to follow. Finally, the reader does not need to guess relationships. The connections between ideas are clear and logical throughout the essay. If these points are present, your essay is doing what a compare-contrast task actually requires. To conclude, remember that strong compare-contrast writing depends on how ideas are organized. This can be done in two effective ways. First, by grouping similarities and differences. This is the block method. Second, by comparing one point at a time and discussing both options together. This is the point-by-point method. In both cases, clear organization makes compare and contrast relationships visible and easy to follow for the reader. That clarity supports task fulfillment and coherence, which are essential for higher band scores in IELTS. Before submitting your essay, use this simple self-check. If my paragraphs only make sense together, I'm comparing. If they still work separately, I'm describing. If you found this explanation useful, please like the video and share it with anyone preparing for IELTS. Subscribe to the channel for more clear, exam-focused IELTS lessons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.